Welcome to Peaking to Success, the podcast that delves deep into our guest success stories, the highs, the lows, the lessons learned, and if there's any exciting future plans lined up. Talking about future plans, Peaking into Success is proudly supported by Peak Wills and Estate Planning. We're here to support you with any future planning. Long gone are the times of solicitors in suits and ties and dark rooms and outdated practices. We are proud to offer a fresh and dynamic approach to the stuffy old world of wills, changing the way we talk about what happens when we die. But that's enough talk about death on a podcast introduction. It's time to pass you over to Peaking into Success host, Mr. Adam Kahn. Whose success are we peeking into this episode, Adam?
Thanks, Sam. Today we've got on an actress that is known for her work in theatre as well as her work on the screen, mostly known for her role in Coronation Street. We have on Kate Spencer. Hi Kate, how are we today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. I saw you last week performing one of your pieces, Four Walls, so it was good to kind of see you again. But we're unfortunately doing this over Teams today.
We are. We just about got there.
Oh, exactly. It took some time, but we got there. For anyone that doesn't know you, how would you sum yourself up in a nutshell to people listening?
I would say I'm an actor, performer, introvert, although a lot of people would find that hard to believe because I talk a lot. Runner, coffee addict, photographer, board game enthusiast, general people person, I'd like to say.
I'd agree with that. That's a nice way of summing you up. So of course,
I'm also quite impatient as well, so
we'll try and be quick. So of course, the first words you kind of mentioned were actor, performer. How did you get into that? So them two words and how people would associate them. How would they get into that industry? Because a lot of people want to kind of break through being actor when they're younger, or performer and be on the stage or on TV. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, so when I was at school, when I was younger, I used to dance a lot. It was more dancing before acting, actually. So I used to go to ballet and lots of kind of extracurricular dance sort of lessons. My mum always said when I was younger, I always wanted to be a backup dancer. That was my first goal. And then when I got to around 11 and went to secondary school, I had my first drama classes and they were just really good. And I just found I was really good at remembering lines and I really loved telling different people's stories, being able to encompass someone else and get into someone else's kind of head and mindset and what they might like and their opinions and goals and things like that. So I did drama throughout kind of my school life. I went to various extracurricular activity places like youth theatre, Bakewell Youth Theatre, Ripley's Academy of Dance and Drama, so I did a bit dancing there. Went to Stagecoach for a bit, National Youth Theatre, and then when it was kind of looking at university or drama school, I decided to try and go down the drama school route, which I did. I went to Rose Bruford College and I studied the American Theatre Arts course, which was amazing, looking at acting, but specifically within American theatre and how kind of social aspects and politics and culture and religion affects the theatre over 3 years. And I got to live in Chicago for a semester, which was incredible. And then after I graduated, that was kind of it. And I was in the big bad industry. That's a brief history of how I got into it, really.
Nice. And a lot of people, of course, they do what you have done and mentioned there. So, of course, they've gone youth theatre, they've kind of pursued it, whether that be a university or a drama school. What makes you different to the hundreds and thousands that have come before you or after you to kind of break into the performance kind of world, whether that be theatre or on TV? What helped you break in where a lot of people kind of get to that stage, they maybe get to 21, 22, and then they struggle and they kind of give up and follow another career?
It is so hard. It's so hard to answer because it's like this industry can be very, very subjective. So a lot of it potentially can depend on who you are, what you look like, what your ethnicity is, what hair colour you have, how tall you are, what region you're from, or if you're from London. So a lot of it does depend on the other aspects rather than just you and your talent. So when I first graduated, I decided I didn't want to have an agent, and I tried lots of different things myself, and I really enjoyed doing that because I got to try loads of different things, and with that, and it was kind of up to me, and it was like, am I really interested in this? I don't know, but I'll try it. And some things were really, really good. Some things were not so good, but I learned throughout that process of what I did like and what I didn't like and things like that. And I was very open to trying different things. I wasn't, I had goals, but I wasn't particularly closed off. So whereas some people have goals and they don't want to do anything other than that, which is absolutely fine. But at the same time, it might close you off to other opportunities if you are so fixated on one particular goal. So yes, it was a couple of years after I graduated that I decided that I wanted to try and get an agent, and I was really lucky that I did. Again, it's really hard because when people are looking for agents, there might already be actors on their books that look a lot like you or have similar casting. So that's really hard in itself. Regardless of even getting roles, even getting an agent can be really difficult. But I was lucky enough to get one, and then from there I've kind of just been working on different projects. I've had a couple of different agents now, and yeah, I don't know what's particularly. I don't want to say I don't know what's different. I am different to other people, but I think I'm very determined in areas. But I think I'm very open to different opportunities. Like I say, I do have goals, but I also like to try different things. Because that's one of the amazing things about acting. You get to try different things and become different people and tell different stories from different points of view. So,
I mean,
yeah.
The one thing you didn't mention there, what I would say personally makes you different, is that you're willing to be versatile. So even if it's a character that you don't feel comfortable with, or kind of a genre you don't feel comfortable with, what I've seen from you is that you're willing to play multiple different characters and kind of not be typecast, would you say? So you don't fit into a mold, which I think that makes you stand out, and that's kind of your USP, as you'd call it for yourself.
Yeah, I think like you just said about, you don't necessarily have to like the character or things like that. I think you have to, my thing is you really have to understand the character. Like, you might not like them and what they stand for and their opinions, but you have to understand why they think that way. And then that can really help you get into the character's mindset and help you portray them a bit more truthfully. But yeah, I'd like to think I'm versatile and do different things. Yeah, that is part of the fun of it, is learning a different person's world and what makes them tick, and their positives and their flaws, and that's really fun, and difficult at times, trying to understand, why are they doing this? This person is awful. Like, why are they trying to sell their baby, for instance? That is a horrendous thing to do, but they might have their reasons why, and I'm not saying that's okay or not okay, and you don't necessarily have to the audience doesn't have to particularly know the reasons why, but as long as you do, I think that's important, you as the actor.
Yeah, I mean, then you can portray, I guess, the character how you want to portray them, and kind of, if you learn their backstory and learn their intentions, then of course you're going to relate and be able to portray that character better and be more genuine and realistic when it is showcased to an audience. Of course, you've done multiple kind of genres and kind of theatre as well as TV. Kind of what came first, the theatre, and then kind of transitioned? Is, I know that you dabble in both now, so what kind of came first and what was kind of your transition period?
Yeah, so I was very much theatre-based for a long time, and I still am to a degree, but like you say, I dabble in both. But I was very much theatre-based. That was what the that was what my training was predominantly in, and I loved it. I do love it, performing to a live audience, getting to share that moment with the audience and with the other actors that you're working with. So yeah, it's always been very much theatre as kind of a sole background. And then, how long ago? It was 4 years ago, so 2019, I decided I really, really wanted to try and step into screen a little bit more and get some more experience with that. And something came along and casting was right, timing was right. I did the auditions and that went really well. And yeah, that was kind of a transition into screen for me, which was an incredible experience. And there are some transferable skills, but it is also a different entity. So it's learning how to do things on a much smaller, subtler scale. So that was really interesting for me to learn. And I learned so much about me as an actor and about the industry, which was invaluable. But yeah, now I kind of dabble between the two and I very much enjoy doing both.
Good. And I mean, again, showing versatility on your range of being able to do both. I mean, not a lot of people like to flicker between both, I assume. So being able to be versatile means that for you and for your agent, you'd be able to be open to a wider net of opportunities compared to other people. Of course, with the TV, I noticed that you didn't mention the name of what you were. Of course, I believe that it was only meant to be for a couple of episodes, wasn't it? And then it went on for a longer period of time. So, of course, for you, how did that kind of come about from being like a bit part character to having a whole storyline develop around yourself?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was Coronation Street. So I was initially brought on to be, it's called like a guest, a recurring guest. So originally, I think it was meant to be about 10 or 15 episodes over a 9-month period. So my character was going to kind of come in and come out. And if you think 10 or 15 episodes isn't actually that many to say it's on 6 times a week. So initially I was going to come in and just do, 3 episodes here, then leave again, then come back and do 3 more, and then that sort of thing over 9 months. So that was the original plan. And I actually knew at the beginning when I got the job what my storyline was. So I knew the beginning, I knew what was going to happen at the end to my character, because it was only meant to be 10 or 15 episodes. But as I previously mentioned, that was 2019 I started that, and as we all know, the pandemic hit in 2020. So at that point it hit, and I didn't really know what was happening, because I was only a guest, I wasn't necessarily in the know about what was happening. I mean, no one knew what was happening generally in the world. Never mind our industry, but this specific program, I didn't know if we were coming back or when people were starting to film again or anything like that. And then we did eventually come back to filming. And I just remember when I was getting I knew my storyline was kind of going to come to an end. I was getting the script and just read the script, and my character was pregnant. And I was like, she's pregnant? That wasn't in the initial plan. And then I was like, well, maybe I'm not leaving. And then, she ended up going to prison for a little bit, casual. And then she came back, and like you said, I was in it for another year after that. So 9 months sporadically turned into 2 years, more or less, which was amazing. So, and I feel very, very lucky and privileged to have been able to work during the pandemic, because I know a lot of people in the industry weren't able to, and I mean, a lot of people generally weren't able to work. So I feel very, very privileged that I was still able to act during that time and do something so cool. Obviously, it was very odd, all the masked and the 2 meters on set and everything like that. It wasn't quote unquote normal, but it was great, and I learned a lot, even though we had to be 2 meters away from everyone.
So, for of course, you being able to do that, do you think after the whole Coronation Street thing that you've kind of developed your skills more, because of course you've done both, and do you have a different outlook after being able to do both theatre and screen work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, after the 2 years, I was very much ready to go back to theatre, but I think everyone was, because theatre hadn't really been around during the pandemic. But I was very much, I had the urge to be back in front of an audience and to be performing live with people. But I think there are, like I said, there are transferable skills, but I think I learned a lot about performing, but also about how I work as an actor. Okay. Because with theatre, you have 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks rehearsal period to practice things over and over again and get things not perfect, but to really get to grips with the character and the scene and the character arc and everything like that. Whereas in screen, you're filming things out of order, and they might be like, you know, an hour before, oh, we've changed the script, here's the new script. And then you just have to learn it, because time is money and there's no time to kind of mess around or get complacent or, you know, chill out, because there's a very strict schedule and we need to keep to that. But it also means you're on your toes and you're picking up things so quickly, and it's almost very intuitive and in the moment, and you're like, right, what would my character do right now? There's no time to practice it over and over and over again, or to discuss it, or do table work to a degree, because you just have to get it done. So it's very much like real life. Like, how are they going to say this? What's the word I'm looking for? Like intuition, instinct. That's what I'm looking for. What's the absolute instinct, the gut instinct of how I'm going to say this line? Because that's the only time you're going to get to do it. And like I say, it's out of sync. So you might be filming, I don't know, scene 1 and then scene 10. And then a week later, you might be filming scene 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And then a week later, you're filming scene 5. And you kind of have to remember all your intentions throughout that, because it's not a linear thing. But I think I took from that, when I went back to theatre, the just trying things. Because you just got to try things. You can't be hesitant to go for it, because on set, like I say, you don't have time to be hesitant. You've just got to go for it. And I think I've definitely taken that into theatre now. I'm a little bit more kind of, let's just try this, or let's just try this, because just offering more things, because that's my experience from working on Corrie.
And I mean, that will help your development massively, as you're more reactive than kind of stewing on it and being, I guess, proactive. But you're doing a bit of both, is of course, I guess, that you'll kind of know the character, and then you're being reactive with the techniques you're using, which is good and part of your development.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course, we've kind of whistle-stopped through your life, let's say, and I kind of wanted to see what your biggest achievement was, or what you deem to be your biggest achievement or your career high so far.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think there's multiple.
That's fair.
I think working at my local theatre, local theatres, I should say, Derby Theatre and the Crucible in Sheffield have been two huge highs. I did Great Expectations at Derby, and that was incredible. Got getting to work with Sarah, and the show itself, and such a incredible script and story, such a classic, and also getting to play Estella, because I'm not necessarily a typical casting for someone like classically like Stella's casting. So that was absolutely incredible. There was basically a mini swimming pool on stage. It was fire. It was everything. It was great. And then equally working at Crucible, I actually did my work experience there when I was 16. So being able to go back as a professional actor, I think I was 26 at the time, was also incredible. And working on an American, there was American aspects to it, which was part of my degree. It was very politically based, again, which I looked at in my degree. So I really felt like full circle working on that. It was Frost Nixon at the Crucible. So that was incredible. But like I said, Coronation Street, also career high. Absolutely. My mum's goals. But then on the other end, that some people don't necessarily talk about that much, I really love working on smaller scale productions that reach different audiences. So I've done kind of schools shows, and I worked on a show called The Christmas Carol last year with Front Door Theatre, and that was Derby based, and we went round people's and performed on their front door for Christmas. like a 15-minute show, and it was incredible because we had this little like puppetry show. We just turned up at people's door. Well, they booked, we didn't just turn up. We turned up, apart from one, we actually went to the wrong house at one point, which was the funniest thing. But we turn up and we're doing a little puppet show, and people are sat inside, and they've got the hot chocolates, and the adults have got their Baileys, and it was great. And we just perform a 15-minute show of the Christmas Carol, and then that's it, close the door onto the next one. And it was just it was just bringing Christmas to people's houses. So I think as a career high, there's just so many. I've been very lucky to work on such different projects, and all of them have benefited me and given me joy in different ways. So
I like that, because of course you're focused on kind of local to you and kind of things that are meaningful to you, as well as a role that of course a lot of people and would want to achieve in an acting capacity. So kind of you've gone from what's a high for yourself, as well as an actual high that a lot of people will kind of take recognition for and be like, wow, I wish I could do that. So you kind of focused on everything, which is nice. Is there a career defining moment that is different to your high? So something that stands out, maybe that's shaped how you are as an actor or performer, or anything like that?
I think there is, I think all of the previous ones that I've just said, but I think last year things were a little bit, I moved to a new agent and wasn't particularly happy, it wasn't particularly working, and I was kind of reassessing what I wanted as an actor, as a performer, as a person, what I wanted my career to look like. And that was a kind of defining moment in a way, because I have a list called I Forgot I Love list, and basically, if I'm feeling like down, or if I'm bored or anything, I'll look to my I Forgot I Love list. And it's just got a bunch of things on there that sometimes I forget I love. So like going to the gym, or going to the cinema, or hanging out with my friends, or those sort of things.
Nice.
So last year, when I was a bit like, things aren't necessarily going in the way that I was hoping they were going to go. I'm not sure what I'm doing or where I'm going with my career, and a lot of kind of questions were coming up. And I was like, okay, let's just, what have I forgot that I love that I can restart doing again? One of them was photography. Running is another one. And I really like organisation. And I love how the arts and the theatre works in its entirety, not just in front of the stage. So I was like, okay, let's just look at other areas that I'm interested in. And as a career defining moment, I was like, okay, I love running. I'm going to apply for the marathon, the London Marathon. So that was something that I did. And photography, I started doing some more photography just myself, and then other people saw that I was doing it. It was like, oh, can you come and do this event or this event? And now that's grown. And now I'm also doing a producing course, because my organisation and love spreadsheets and how the theatre works in its entirety, and helping people put work on stage, I think will really work really well as a producer. So, but I'm still acting. So I think as a long way round to say career defining moment, the fact I was kind of a bit not sure what was happening with my acting, I was like, okay, don't put that aside, keep working on it, but work on other things as well, which can complement that.
Yeah.
And now things are going really well, and I'm doing a producing course, and I'm doing photography. I got a new agent I'm super happy with, and I've been working lots as an actor as well as in other areas. So I think that was kind of a career defining moment for me, when things were going great, to look at other avenues and how they can complement what I'm already doing. Very long-winded answer.
But the thing is, with all that, it's showing you're not one-dimensional. You're not just Kate Spencer, the actor. You're Kate Spencer, the photographer, Kate Spencer, the producer, hopefully, in upcoming months, years. And that just shows that you're willing to constantly develop, because you're aware that acting, there can be dry spells, there can be moments where there might be a couple of months where you might not get a role, and then I know with you that you then get one after the other. So it's, you're filling your time valuably with things that are going to better you and maybe help, like, complement the acting, which of course hopefully in turn will get you more roles and grow as a person, which I think is a good way to look at it, in a good way. I mean, your listing, I mean, that's a thing that I've literally typed on my phone as you were saying it, so that's something I think you've told me that I might do to develop myself, which I really like.
Do it.
I will do. I will now.
You never know where they can lead to either, because, you know, you like talking to people, you even like hanging out with friends, and then that can develop into a podcast. So you just don't know where it can lead you. Like, the things that you do for fun can end up earning you money, helping other people, and helping develop your career. So yeah, I forgot I love list. Absolutely. I love it.
There you go. You're going to get random people coming up to you now saying, "Oh, I've done it."
Good. I'd love it.
There you go. Add it to the list. What does Kate Spencer have coming up in the near future? Kind of any more roles, any more kind of side projects that you're kind of venturing towards?
Yeah, so I'm currently away. My husband's working away at the moment, so I'm visiting him, hence why we're on Teams. So my time over here, I really wanted to spend learning a bit more about editing in terms of photography. So I'm still doing bits of photography, but hoping to get better at it, basically, because there's always room to grow and learn. So I'm doing some more photography and editing. Because I'm doing a producing course at the moment, which is incredible, learning so much, and also learning a lot about myself and what sort of work I would want to help produce in the future, which is really interesting, because actually it's coming up with a lot of things that I didn't necessarily think, and it's just helping me understand why and how my brain works, because sometimes I have this gut reaction to something and I'm like, but why am I thinking that? And that's really interesting. And then I have got a show. I start rehearsals in 2.5 weeks. Very excited. It's probably already going to be announced by the time this podcast comes out, but I can't technically announce it yet because it's not been announced. But I'm really interested in it. Really excited. It's going to challenge me in ways that I haven't been challenged before. So I'm so excited for that. I'm very nervous about it. But I'm really excited, and that's a Christmas show. I can't really say much more at this moment in time just because it hasn't been announced, but I'm really excited for it. So, yeah.
Where would people, of course, find that? Well, of course, you post about it when, of course, it's announced, so people can kind of keep a tab on you and kind of the developments there, or kind of, is it going to be released by the actual, like, company that you're doing the work for?
I think initially it'll be released by them, but then I will repost and reshare and all the rehearsal process and everything. I'm sure there'll be I'll take my camera into the rehearsal room, so I'll take some rehearsal pictures as well. So so if I've got Twitter and Instagram. So my Instagram is katespencer.uk, Twitter is katespencer_UK, and my photography page on Instagram is the.storytelling.walker. So there'll be various pictures on there of life in general and rehearsal shots as and when I'm allowed to take them.
So there you go. That's kind of loads coming up, and it sounds like, of course, with what you've said, you've kind of got this year sorted in terms of acting and work for yourself, which is positive that you've got it locked in, you know what you're doing, and you can kind of look to 2024. Is there anything kind of booked in for then already, or is it kind of getting 2023 out the way and then moving on to 2024?
So the show takes me into the end of January, and then after that I'm going to be doing some producing things specifically, working with independent companies and getting some producing done for them. So that'll probably take me until about March time-ish. And then we'll just see what happens at that point.
Fair enough. Busy though. You're always busy.
Yeah, but I like being busy. I think I like meeting new people, learning different things. Yeah, time is going so fast, and I just want to try and make the most of it, really.
No, that's fair enough, and it's a good way to look at it. That, of course, use your time wisely, and then, of course, you'll achieve hopefully great things. So no, that's good. We're going to get into the more, I call it the more thought-provoking questions. Is, I mean, you're kind of going back in time and having to kind of reflect and evaluate yourself. So, of course, what is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self? So maybe take it back to maybe 10, 11 is, of course, you said you kind of started learning about drama and acting around then. So what's the one piece of advice that you'd give yourself if you went back to then?
I think just going for it, which sounds a bit simplistic, but I think go for it in terms of auditions and things like that, but also standing up for myself and my own views and thoughts and opinions in terms of a rehearsal room, or even, you know, workshops, or when we've got a job or auditions or anything like that. So I think going for it and just standing up for myself, because I think when I was younger, especially when I just graduated, I had this kind of mindset that there was a kind of hierarchy in the rehearsal room. But it's like with any interview, you are being interviewed by a panel, let's say, but they're also being interviewed by you, because it's whether you want to work with them as well as much as do they want to work with you. So I think if I just stood up for myself a little bit, and like I do have thoughts and opinions that are different, but I think beforehand I was a little bit cautious, and I was like, they probably already know this, so I don't need to tell them. But actually sometimes you can point things out that they might not have noticed, and actually might change the whole direction of the piece or of the scene or anything like that, or things like that. So I think, yeah, I don't wish I do wish I stood up for myself a little bit more, a little bit. I think now I'm really, because I'm learning a bit more about the industry from the producing side, I see things in a little bit of a different light. But also, I think there's a lot of things that sometimes we don't know and understand because we don't know that side of it. And now I'm learning about the producing side. I'm like, oh, to me, with my just actor brain on, I'd be like, well, why are they doing that? That seems so counterproductive or inefficient or anything like that. But now with the producing brain on, I'm like, oh, that's why they're doing it, because they need to do certain steps to get to this point. It's not just as easy as I thought it was. So I think it's kind of both. I think it's stand up for myself, but also listen to other people around me who know more. Not that I didn't do that beforehand, but just really appreciate that there are people who know what they're doing, and they can be very helpful to you if you ask. And yeah, again, very long-winded. I think the other thing is just ask for advice if you need it, or help, because people are always willing to help. There's been multiple times that I've been like, I'm so confused, or like I've called Sarah Big and be like, I need some help and advice. And people will give you help and advice if you ask. The worst thing they can say is no, and then you're back to the beginning. So
yeah, no, that's good. Is there, of course, you've looked at the advice, and I mean, this question is very similar, but is there anything that you do differently? So if you went back to 10 and 11 and kind of went and played out the rest of your life as you've done, is there anything that you do differently if you like replayed your life again?
I don't think so, because I think I wouldn't be in the position I am now if I did certain things differently.
Okay.
I think maybe I'd start doing the photography and producing a little bit earlier. Nice. But at the same time, that might have distracted me from other things that I've been able to do, like the marathon and things like that. Yeah, it's so hard, that question, isn't it? Would we do anything different? Like sliding doors, isn't it? Like, would we be in the same position if we did anything differently? So exactly,
it's kind of, if you veer off the course of the main kind of road that you've taken, you don't know if you'll end up in the same place. That's how I look at it anyway. So No, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it could just be a longer detour. By you doing something, it could take you longer to get to the position you did now. So you never know. We've now got some quick fire questions. So of course, you know none of these.
Oh, I'm nervous.
You know none of these. They're just kind of dotted around questions. They're a bit of fun. So like, don't worry. I know that you'll be able to answer them all. So
Okay.
so don't worry about that. The first one is focused kind of on your acting again. So is there a dream role that you kind of want to strive towards or hopefully can achieve in the near future that you'd want to go for?
So, not hugely a dream role. I really love Lord of the Flies as a book.
Nice.
So I think on stage, if it was kind of mixed casting, I would love to be part of Lord of the Flies. Don't even care which character, any of them. But I love to be part of Lord of the Flies. But then equally, I think screen-wise, I really love training. So I know you've done many marathons in your time. I've equally done London Marathon earlier, and I'm really into running, but generally training, just generally like weight training as well. So I'd love to do something on screen which required me to really have to train really hard. So whether it was either changing physically or just having the ability to do certain physical things, I'd love to do something like that, something that really put me through our paces. Yeah, that's screen wise. I mean, it could be for theatre as well, but yeah.
I could see you doing like SAS Who Dares Wins. I could just see you smashing that.
I'd love it.
You just smash that easily.
I do get cold easily though, so I don't know if I can do it all like camping or like being on the mountains. I struggle a little bit with a cold, but
the rest of it you'd be able to do physically anyway.
I'd like to think so, with some training.
Kind of going back to the theatre side, is there a dream venue that you'd like to perform at? So I know that you performed at Derby Theatre, you performed at the Crucible, which are kind of like your hometown venues. Is there anywhere further afield that you'd like to perform at?
One of my other theatres that was on my list I'm actually doing this Christmas, so I'm really glad about that. I would love to work, I mean, I'd like to work at the Globe because that's different. It's outside, yeah. It's just a different kind of sort of venue. I'd like to work at the RSC generally, but if I'm honest, I think I've got to the point, like there are certain venues that I'd like to work at, but it's more about the play and the role and what the story is about, rather than the venue itself, I think, at this point. I also really love studios. So there's main house kind of shows, and then a lot of the theatres have studios that are smaller and kind of more intimate, and I really love studio performances. So I'd actually like to do some more studio work coming up in the future.
I know that you have your kind of hands in various baskets with, of course, photography, acting, everything. But if you could kind of, if that wasn't an option for you, what would you be doing now? So like if there was a different lane that you took entirely, what do you think you would have taken?
It's really interesting because earlier this year I was doing an outdoor summer tour with Oxford Playhouse, and we were going to primary schools, and there was like a big marquee kind of teepee tent, and we'd go around and the tent would be set up. I mean, it was big. It wasn't like a tent. It was like a tent, and we were performing on stage there. So it was kind of outside, but it was also under this big tent. And because it was summer, we were going around, and a lot of the schools were doing kind of PE outside and things like that. And because I'm really into my running and training, and I love performing with kids, I was like, I could really see myself being like a drama and PE teacher. So like going into school and doing half a day of drama and then half a day of teaching PE, and like maybe spending You see, I've thought about this. Going into school for 2 days, doing that with the kids at that school, then going to another school for 2 days and teaching drama and teaching PE. I think I'd actually really enjoy that. I mean, there's the two subjects where kids sometimes really hate drama and really hate PE. So they're kind of the awful subjects to teach, but also the most fun and building self-confidence and just expressive. And so I can totally see myself doing that, becoming a drama and PE teacher.
You've given so much thought into that. I just thought you were going to go, I'd go into this, but no, this has been heavily thought out, and I've not even told you this question.
It was on this tour, honestly. I'd see the kids like doing sports day outside, and I'd be like, yeah, go for it, and like shouting them on. No idea who they are. Them having no idea who I was, apart from this actor that was doing the show. Or something to do with coffee. I'm a coffee addict, so working in having a coffee shop, I'd love. Well, specifically, again, not that I haven't thought about this, like a canal boat coffee shop.
Nice.
I'd love that. I think that would be great. You're getting to meet dog walkers and people out walking and running. I think that would be so much fun.
That sounds like a retirement plan.
Yes, absolutely. Hope I'm not going to retire too quickly, but yeah, absolutely.
Now these next questions are more fun and out there. So, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I haven't sung karaoke in forever, but when I was younger, it was Just Like a Pill by Pink. I love Pink.
Nice. I mean, that's definitely you on your own song, not kind of getting the crowd involved, which a lot of people like to do to kind of mask up their singing, but no, you're just going balls to the wall. I'm singing this, I'm singing it on my own, screw it.
Any Pink though, I love Pink. I saw it earlier this year, so any Pink I'd happily accept.
There we go. We could get a little karaoke concert going on for you. Just get a couple of tracks back to back.
Fantastic. Although no one needs to hear that, but yeah.
Of course, you mentioned, of course, coffee, and I mean, I know that you're into your food. So if a chef turned up to you now and he could make you one drink on one meal, what are you asking for?
So the night I met my now husband, our first date, we had espresso martinis on a rooftop bar. So I want to say espresso martinis is the drink.
Nice.
I mean, they have coffee in it as well. And then food-wise, so I'm gonna go. I'm a main and a dessert sort of girl. Okay. So as a main, I really love like curry.
Fair.
Indian, like just curry, just love it, and a pashwari naan to be precise.
Nice.
And then I love Italian desserts. So tiramisu. Again, we made that on the night we got. Well, I didn't know I was going to get engaged, but we made that. Tiramisu, love tiramisu. A cannoli, love a cannoli. Yeah. So I'd go for a curry and then some sort of Italian dessert.
Nice. And I mean,
with espresso martini. Love martini. They don't necessarily go with each other, but
no, it's for you. So I mean, you can choose whatever. It doesn't need to be complimentary of each other. It's for you to eat and drink. So that's fine. The follow-up to that is you can choose one person to come and have the meal and the drink with you. Who are you choosing? So it can be a family member, it can be a husband, it can be someone that's dead, it can be whoever. You can choose one person just to sit with you, have this meal, talk to.
Oh, that's really difficult. Oh, it's so difficult. I want to say my husband, but so I think secretly it's my husband, but that's boring, so no. And then I think I'd go for either my sister,
nice,
or one of my best friends from drama school, Matt, because we don't see each other that often, but when we do, we have such a good time, and it's like we've never been apart, even though we might not have seen each other for 6 months. And it's just a really nice person, nice chats, and someone that makes me feel good, but is also realistic, and not someone who's kind of putting things into my head, kind of flattering me for no reason. They're just very true and honest, and that's something that I really value in a person.
Yeah, he's not just a yes man. He'll tell you he'll tell you if something sounds stupid or anything like that. And I mean, we need them people in our lives. Because if we had yes man, we'd end up doing stupid things.
Absolutely.
This is the first time I'm doing this question, so it feels really weird. But I mean, we're going to go with it. So, of course, now we've got kind of a sponsor on board. So we've got a company called Peaks, Wills and Estate Planning. So they kind of give me a question to ask to the guests. So we'll see how this one goes. So you've got your things I love list, things I didn't know forgot I loved.
I forgot I loved.
There you go. And they're kind of asking, what is one thing on your bucket list that you hope to achieve before you die? So I know you've done a lot of things. I know you've done skydiving. I know you've done quite a lot of adrenaline-fueled things. But what's kind of one thing that you want to achieve off your bucket list before you die?
Oh, that's really difficult. And I know people think about these like all the time, so it should be quite easy. What's one thing I want to do? There's a lot that I'd like to do. I think really I'd like to. I don't know. Oh, this is so hard. I have to edit some of this out.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I think I just want to travel more.
Anywhere in particular?
A basic thing. There's certain places that I'd like to go with certain people.
Okay.
So for instance, my husband's never been to Iceland or New York, and I'd really like to go there with him. And then I've got a friend, and we've always talked about going to like an Italian vineyard and kind of staying in some sort of chateau or some sort of cottage or something, and just doing wine tasting all the time. So I'd like to travel. I think that's it. I've got 2 godchildren, and I'd love to kind of even go kind of near places with them, but just see the world through their eyes. So I think it's travel, but with various different people. Sorry, that took me such a long time to answer.
No, that's fine. I like that answer. I mean, mine would be travelling also, so no, I respect that. And the last kind of quick fire question I've got for you is, of course, being from Derbyshire yourself. If randomers came to Derby or Derbyshire, they'd never been before, what's one place you're showing them to? What's your gem of Derbyshire that you'd go and show them?
Derby Theatre for one. Has some very good shows on. Absolutely. And then so I'm from near Matlock, so I like the cutesy kind of touristy little areas, so like Matlock Bath. I went to school in Bakewell, fish and chips in Bakewell, or a Bakewell pudding, Bakewell tart, and also the walks as well. So like the walks around Chatsworth, Musselhead, all those sort of things. Ashover Rock. I'm from Ashover, and there's a big rock up a hill that's technically called the Fay Brick, but we all call it Ashover Rock. And that was how when you're little you have a place. That's my place. And when we got married, we went up there and had some pictures up there. So Ashover Rock, you can see 4 counties from there, so that's really, really lovely. So quite a few up there.
No, that's fine.
Ashover Rock, and then Bakewell, Matlock Bath, that sort of thing.
Nice. Thank you for coming on. I know you mentioned kind of where people can find you earlier, but just kind of again plug where people are going to get updates in you, where they're going to find you, and how they can kind of follow you and follow what's to come of your journey.
Yeah, so my Instagram is katespencer.uk, Spencer's CER, and then Twitter is katespencer_UK, and then for my photography, that is the.storytelling.walker, and that's on Instagram. I don't have a Twitter for that one. But yeah, so that's where people can find me, and or running along the canal in Beeston. That's somewhere else they can find me, because that's where I often run, along the canal and along the river Trent in Nottingham. So yeah.
No, perfect. Thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And I mean, hopefully we get to catch up in real life soon.
Yes, please. Over a coffee or a bevy or an espresso martini.
There we go.
Want to know what's happening within Derby's black community? Or perhaps you have a story of your own to share? Then look no further than Majatu, your one-stop source for local African and Caribbean news. With our digital news platform and quarterly print magazine, keep up to date on all of the latest in arts, entertainment, food, sports and more. Find us online at mojatu.com.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Peeking into Success podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've listened to today and would like to listen to more, go and check out the previous episodes on our channels and make sure you follow the page as well to keep up to date with the new exciting episodes that we've got upcoming for the rest of the year.